Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know from which part of the world you're watching us, whether from Europe, from America, from Australia, or from Africa. My name is Mrs. Delphine Nforgwei. I'm a pastor, I'm a teacher, I'm an entrepreneur, and together with my husband, we run a foundation called the Dream Foundation, where I am the vice president of that foundation. In this foundation, we empower youths, we encourage youths in their careers and, bring out their talents in Christendom through gospel musical shows. I really want to appreciate Dr. and Mrs. Ngafesin, Madison and Claudia for this wonderful initiative of Leeds Mission. I have followed Leeds Mission for the past 2 years online, because most of the time when they came to the country, I haven't been around. So I've watched them on Facebook, I've followed them, and I've really enjoyed them. But this time around, I am grateful, I'm so happy, and I'm so excited that I am part of this powerful team, and they found me worthy to be one of their speakers. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you, my First Lady. And thank you all who are watching us this day. I want to look first at the theme of the conference this year that has touched my heart so deeply, about building legacies in challenging times. Building legacy in challenging times. That is the main theme of this conference. And this theme so touched me because of the relevance and the timeliness of this very team. Thank you, Leeds Mission, once more for thinking of such a vision, such activities in this particular time. The world is going through a lot, and we need to sit back and think. We need to sit back and rebuild what we are leaving for the generation that is following us. So I am happy. I was given a topic to talk on building families that stand the test of time. So I'll be talking to us on building families that stand the test of time. I so love this, and I believe that they had a reason to give me this topic. I don't know what they looked and saw in me, but I'm happy to talk on this. And while I was reflecting on these family issues, I began to look at the complexities, of families, building families that stand the test of time. The families in this part of the world where we come from, like in Yaoundé, Cameroon, we are in Africa, and there's so much complexities in the families that exist. And I want us to just look at it and then to understand, when I'll be speaking, where I'm coming from. The nature of relationships in the family setting is very, very complex in our community, in our nation. Now, we are in the Leading Lady Conference. So we are focusing a little bit more on the woman. Although we touch things left here and there, because a woman also is at the center of a lot of things. The woman is a mother. She's a wife. She's a sister. She's a sister-in-law, and she's a daughter-in-law. The man, too, on his own part, is a father-in-law, a brother-in-law, a son-in-law. Each of these relationships status, they have different expectations and different demands from the people that surround the families. From these complexities, we can already even begin to imagine the challenges that are existing. How challenges this can be. Yet, we know that it is very, very necessary. It is necessary, it is absolutely necessary to make sure that these relationships stand. And so focusing on building families is very, very important. It is a foundation for a sustainable society. When you look at what is happening in any society you find yourself, it is a direct reflection of what is happening in families. Whatever thing you see happening in a community, in a country, in a society, in a nation, check the families that make up that nation. Check the families that make up that society. You will discover that the state of affairs in a family directly influences the state of affairs in a nation and in any society you find yourself. Now, I was trying to follow a certain documentary, and they were talking about, the life of a certain serial killer. When they caught this man, he had killed so many people. But as they began to investigate the life of this serial killer, they found out that the family where he was coming from, he had a lot of problems. He had a lot of issues. They didn't give him the chance, to express himself. And so the best way this guy could express himself was to kill. And so whenever he steps out and something bothers him, he looks for who to kill. All of this was traced back to his family, back to where he was coming. Families are very, very, very important, and we need to pay a lot of attention to the things that happen in the family, because they will reflect the leadership. They will reflect politicians. They will reflect the administrators. They will reflect everything around us. If we are suffering today in the leadership of today, it's because the right legacy was not handed to them. And the very first legacy that a child grows up with is the one she takes from home. It is what he or she copies from home. So whatever thing a child copies from home will influence this child into the type of husband he will become in future if it's a boy, and into the type of wife she will become in future if it's a lady, the kind of woman she will become. All of this is reflective on the kind of homes where these children are coming from. And so looking at all of this, the relevance of this topic and the theme that was given to me, I thought I was going to work on two very serious problematics, and I will also bring out some solutions from there. Problematics that have, affected the society through families, through the setup of families. Now, and looking at this topic, I got 2 points that I want to discuss on. And number one is cultural taboos. Cultural taboos. Now, there are taboos that affect our communities seriously, negatively, silently. Nobody has put it on any law. Nobody said it anywhere. But everybody is just respecting it. Everybody is just following it. These are all taboos that affect especially the African community. Now, in our part of the world, there is this male dominance thing, where most often the boys or the men are preferred. A man can even, send away the wife and bring a new wife because he's looking for a male child. It's a taboo. It happens like nobody is saying anything. It's silently, but it's affecting homes. It's touching the lives of people negatively. And so when I look at a thing like this, it brings me to this point. We need to work together. We need to complement one another. We need to learn to appreciate children the way they come. Now, if you make your kids to realize that, you have preference for the boys, it will affect the girls. If you make them see that they are not, as worthy, the girls will feel worthless. Whereas every child is equipped. Every child is well structured and can just do anything as God has designed them to do, if you give them equal opportunities. And so to solve this male dominance thing, I think that the children, our kids should be given equal opportunities. Now, still looking at the male dominance thing, we live in homes where when a man speaks, a woman shouldn't even open her mouth. If a woman has to open her mouth, now you are against the man. It looks like a taboo. This woman, I talk and you talk. How come you are speaking? And so it affects, the wellness of the family. They can't cooperate well. They can't communicate well. They can't flow well. They just live in pretense. People move and, they're trying to prove to others that they are doing well, yet they are not doing well because it's not moving well in their homes. So, like I said, couples are meant to complement each other. To solve this problem, we need to be communicating. The wife must talk with the husband. The husband should be able to be open and speak with the wife. There are ideas that women have you may never know. If you minimize them, you will miss a lot because they have wisdom. They can contribute even to the job issues, your business issues you're having. If you just share with your wife, she's going to add an idea that will change your mind, an idea that will help you around. So women and men are equally very, very useful. They are equally very, very important. Boys and girls are important. Another taboo I'm looking at, it may look, positive, but there is something in it. In the days we were growing up, it was a challenge. It was a terrible thing to get a lady get pregnant when she was not married. It's a taboo. It was a taboo to meet a lady who is a prostitute. It was a taboo to find a woman or get a woman in adultery, living in adultery. It got to the point where even in the days of the Bible, there was a lady that was brought before Jesus. And they were asking, the law of Moses says when we catch a lady like this, they should be stoned to death. The woman should be stoned to death. When they brought up this topic, and Jesus was just, looking down and just reflecting and waiting for them to finish. When they finished, Jesus took his head up and asked them, he said, if there's any one of you here who has never sinned, let him throw the first stone. And he continued. By the time he took off his head, all the people had disappeared. And he was left with the lady. He asked, where are all the people? Where are your accusers? She said they had all left. Now, here is the issue here. Adultery is something that happens between two people. Pregnancy concerns two people. Prostitution is two people. But when it happens, one person is stigmatized, the other one is set free. Like there is just nothing said about it. And this one leads to delinquency because men usually go away with their, their attitudes. The boys will think that they can do this thing and go free. They will do anything and they know nothing will be said about it. But if it is you, the lady, you are just in trouble. Especially that you are the one carrying the pregnancy. What about the guy? Nobody looks about that. Nobody talks about it. Nobody stigmatizes them. So this is a problem in our society. That is where taboos have taken us to the point where people are suffering silently in their corners. Nobody is saying anything about it, but that is what is happening. And so you have quarrels at home because people want, husbands want their wives to have boys and so on. This is a big problem. It's a big problem. Another taboo we are suffering from is these silent restrictions on topics like sex. We don't discuss it. Husband and wife, they don't discuss sex. You don't talk it with your children. And the risk of not talking this is that, one, you live in dissatisfaction. And then when you don't talk it, as a couple, you live in dissatisfaction because you can't express to your husband, you can't talk about it, you just live quietly and everybody's just doing whatever they feel they want to do. Now, when it comes to children, you don't talk it to the children. They will soon hear from others. If you are not the first to tell them, the first person that tells them, they will believe in that person and they will trust that person. So by the time you are coming back with your idea, they are already gone so far. And so, what I think we can do with a thing like this is make sure we communicate, make sure we speak as a family. Let us talk. Talk with your wife, talk with your kids, talk to them always, appreciate them. Appreciate them. Compliment them. Tell them who they are. Don't let another person to compliment them. They have never heard somebody telling them they love them. And by the time they hear but from one, it could be one rascally guy telling, I love you, they will be so carried. But if as a parent, you are able to tell your child, I love you, my baby, you are beautiful, you are wonderful. I'm telling you, it marks them. It increases their self-esteem. They grow in esteem, and so they don't live in complex. They don't live like people who are, out of this world. There are some children that they can't even, they can't go out, they can't interact with others because they feel very inferior. Nobody has ever appreciated them. Nobody has ever complimented them. So we live in times that we need to know these things, because there is so much out there that is putting in the wrong knowledge in our children. So the second thing I want to share with us is the impact of modern life. The impact of modern life. There is so much that has happened over time. Modern life is very interesting, it's very good. There are so many advantages to it. But I'll take you to a little story. When I was growing up as a young lady, I remember, usually I come from Bamenda, which is the northwest region of Cameroon. It's usually very cold in the mornings and cold in the evenings. And so I remember my childhood days. In the evenings, we usually gathered around the fire in the kitchen, and we'll be telling stories. My grandmother would tell us powerful stories with good moral lessons. Most of the stories she told us ended with a very good moral lesson. And you knew in you that, from this story, there is this life I can't live. There is this thing I can't do because of the story that, grandma was telling us. So in the evenings, we had this family time together, always gathering, sitting around the fire, conversing, and we'll eat around there. We had no televisions. We had no television. We had no telephones. So you can imagine. So in those days, life was really, really interesting. A lot of modern things had not come up. Televisions were not there. Computers were not there. Telephones were not there. But we had fun. We had teachings. We had values, that our parents were inserting in us through the times we spent together. So in those days, there was so much bonding. There was so much relationship, fellowship with the family. Now, looking at the modern times, the modern life, and the things that are going on now, you realize that the chase or the quest for careers and job has taken over family time. Women want to chase careers. Women want to work and make money. All of these things are good. We need them. They are necessary. They are important. Yes. But the question is, how much are you, or how good is that career? Is it good enough to trade it for your family? Of what good will it be for you to spend your life and time gaining the fame, the name, the career, the money, and in that process you lose your family? Modern life is good. It has enhanced a lot of things. But then, we need to sit back and see how we can refix it to balance it, because it is kind of stealing away family life. It's taking away so much from family life. There's so much unavailability. Parents are not available for their children. And so the children are left at the mercy of house helps. They are brought up by house helps. The cultures the children grow up with is the culture that house helps have put in them. What legacy are we leaving for these children? Is it what the house helps will build in them? In homes of today, there is an absence of communication. Even though technology has made communication very easy. But in the family life, in homes, you could be sitting at a table and everybody is on their phone. And so they don't communicate as families. Other things have interfered with that beautiful family life. I keep reflecting the days I was growing up, and my dad always had this small radio listening to BBC and the Voice of America. And we're all around eating granules, sharing corn, or doing one or two nice things as a family. Now families don't get to finding time to spend time together. Technology is one of those modern things that have come. They have helped. They are still helping. But if we are not very careful, they can be very, very destructive. We are together but far from each other because of technology. People have different interests, different TV programs, different things they are following. Where is this leading us to? I looked at a few solutions to this challenge of modern life. One thing we need to be able to do is balance work and life. Family life and work there should be a balance. We should be able to strike a balance. Have common activities that you can do together as a family. Yes, it's modern times. Yes, people must go to school. Yes, people must pursue careers. But after all the career seeking, after all the money pursuing, we need to come back to each other. The home is very important. The home is very necessary. It is that takeoff point. It is that landing point. So no matter how much you achieve in your career, if you don't have a home to fall back to, even that career will end up not being very helpful to you. What use is it when you will gain everything, gain the money, and then you lose your children in the hands of untrained, maybe illiterate house help, as it is the case here in Cameroon? Another thing we need to look at is get all the members of the family, parents, children, informed about the vision of the family. People are not informed because they don't communicate. Lack of communication. Get them informed. Let them know where you are carrying the family to. Let them know what is the plan you have for them in the future. They must know. If you don't communicate with them, everybody, you will be going left, others are going right. Some you're going up, some are coming down. Why? Because they have no understanding of where you are driving them to. They have no understanding of where you are taking them to. Parents, this is one thing you must note. You are the first role models to your kids. You are the first role models. And you must play a good role model. If the world is crumbling today, visions are crumbling today, it is because we've not been able to play our roles or as the good role models we are meant to be. When a child is born, the first place this child lands, it is in a family. The first person the child wakes up to see is the mother. And so you start putting values into these children. What values are you putting in them? What kind of role model are you to your kids? What do you teach them? What do you speak around them? I learned that in communication, 35% is verbal. And the rest is just by maybe actions, anyhow, your attitude. It's a communication. And so as parents, we have a very strong influence on the outcome of our kids. They see the things we do. You can't just talk. I always tell people, actions speak louder than words. The things you do are stronger than the things you say. You can say and say and say, but they will watch what you are doing. When you behave well, you will get children that are behaving well. When they see that you spend your time gossiping, you are bringing up gossips. If they see you spend so much of your time criticizing our government, you are bringing up new activities in government. They are coming up. They pick it from the parents. Children are a reflection of their home. The leaders you see out there are a reflection of their homes. Every rapist you've heard of, every terrorist you've heard of, vandals, they all came from homes. That is why I appreciate this topic so much, because we need to focus on building our homes by putting the right values in our kids. Let us build them up with the right values. Teach them the values with the things you do, the things you say, educate them. And I tell you, children learn more by observation. Children learn by observation. So if homes, if families are well constituted, well constructed, the right values given, I'm telling you, these children will make up the best leaders that the world has not yet seen or heard. Thank God for Leeds Mission for bringing this at this time, at this season, in this present time, when it is most needed, when things have all gone wrong, visions have died with their founders, businesses and investments have died with their founders because nothing was communicated. They did well, parents did well, they are fine, they are famous, but what did you communicate to your children? We must be able to communicate our visions to the children and put the right values in them. This explains why when you see people die, people start fighting over the things that the man left. If you leave them with things and no knowledge, the things will go. But if you leave them with knowledge, they will use the knowledge and values to bring whatever thing they need. So I just want to say thank you once more for our founder, the founder of Lead Mission, and the wife, First Lady. Thank you once more for giving me this opportunity to share my own perspective from the home on how we can build a better legacy for the upcoming generation, for the children we are leaving behind. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone that is watching. God bless you. We shall be speaking more in our breakout sessions. If you have your questions, we shall take questions. Thank you so much.